Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, good. Srini, you?
Yeah.
Good. So first, before showing the installation, so let me do an installation because it doesn't take much time. So if you see the installation process, it would be better for you even if you want to practice on trial version in future. Okay. So let me install first. So it's good to have the 2.3.2 version because you can practice more. Fine. So how many days you will have that license, Srini?
I have it till 2016 March
Okay.
or something.
Okay. Good. So coming to databases, Srini, you have any exposure on Oracle database? Because you are,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, good. Because generally mainframe guys will have their own databases and all right. So, fine.
Srini, so if I want to request for access on Ab-Initio from CTS,
Talk to Partha. You know Partha?
yeah, I know him.
Okay. Talk to Partha. Or Bhaskar?
Yeah, I know both of them.
Yeah, probably Bhaskar is the best bet. You can talk to
Okay.
him and ask him like you need this remote training facility so he will get it. There is some legal form or something which you need to sign, scan and send it. So if you do it, they'll give you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Rakesh and Srini, I will send you a zip file that contains some Ab-Initio new folder. So this folder contains the softwares Ab-Initio Co-op and Ab-Initio GDE. Because we have EME also, right? But this is the Windows based trial version. Old version doesn't have any EME support. So you can install only Ab-Initio operating system and Ab-Initio GDE. Okay, so the sequence is first we have to install the Ab-Initio operating system because this is the server. So this is the setup file for that. I am just trying to install now. Okay, so click on the setup file because it's very easy in Windows, but if you take the real-time operating system, so which will generally install on Linux or Unix operating systems. Okay, so there we cannot do this kind of installation, so the process is same, but you have to execute some of the scripts in Linux to set up the co-op and all. So generally this co-operating system setup can be taken care by Ab-Initio admin, but in case if you have to install, sometimes there are some new projects, very new application, so you may have to install the setup. Then you have to follow the setup installation guide. They will give some guide right there. They will give some kind of commands. Okay, you have to follow the same commands like execute the setup.ks script, pass the values for the working directory and the target directory and all. So it's the process is same in both Windows and Linux, but the way of installation is different. I mean the script is different. Okay, so now I am clicking on the next. Okay, accept the license and all. Okay, so these are the it will show the versions. So the co version, DB version, repository version, everything it will show support by this thing. Okay, so like Ab-Initio worker, this is the temporary directory. So because so whenever you do any kind of operations on Windows operating system on any software, you know, your temp files will get created in some C directory temporary folder, right? Similarly here also. So while you are running the process and while you are doing executing any commands in Ab-Initio, okay, so your Ab-Initio requires some kind of temporary memory or temporary directory where your runtime files will get created. So this is the place where your temporary files will get created at runtime and automatically get removed if the process is success. Okay, so you can give any path here, but the default path for your Windows is the C drive. C drive is the location where I am going to install Ab-Initio. C drive, Ab-Initio work is a folder, it will get created. Okay, if you want you can change this one. Click on next and click on next again, it will install. So there is no complexity. Okay, and talking about this Ab-Initio work directory. So generally while you install Ab-Initio co-op on the Linux server, so this work directory can be the path of the new file system, because in Unix or Linux servers, so whenever you are going to install any new software, so you have to create the specific folder for that. So because since my Ab-Initio is a separate software, because Ab-Initio can be used by only Ab-Initio developers in the server, right? That's why you have generally your Ab-Initio admin will create a few pure Ab-Initio file systems. So like the file system name will be starting from slash Ab-Initio. Okay, in slash Ab-Initio file system they will create some data again as a subdirectory. In the data they will create some work directory. Okay, so this work directory can be used by your AB work directory. Just now I showed you C colon Ab Initio work data, right? This is the different in Linux. The path can be like Ab Initio slash data slash work directory. So even if when you will get chance to, I mean when you get access to your Linux server, you can check the directory in Ab Initio data. Okay, so I'm finishing the setup. So now co-op is over. Okay, so this is the kind of server, right? So now if I want to design the application, I have to install the GDE on my local machine. Okay, but this is our responsibility, because GDE will be specific to each developer, right? So you have to install the GDE on your machine. Installation of GDE is same in both versions, any trial version and latest version also, but the setup is different. First let me do the installation. So this is the folder which contains the GDE setup file. So anyhow this is the Windows file. Even if you take the latest version also, GDE will be the Windows setup file only. That's why the application is same. They will give one link to you. You have to download the software, GDE software from that link, and you have to install the setup file.
And Narayana, the latest software that we have 3.2,
Yeah,
is it we install in the same method or is it a different?
same. No, 3.2 like GDE setup, right? You are talking about, not hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
GDE same
Mm-hmm.
method. They will give some .msi file, not the setup file. MSI files will be there, right? They will give one MSI file. So you have to click on that file. That's it. Very simple installation. Click on the next. They accept the license, and you have to here you have to give the name and company. But the latest version won't ask, because anyhow they will provide the name as a group, right? So that's why you don't need to pass any company under there. Okay, there is a small difference. So target directory you have to specify. Okay, that's it. It will get installed. So this is the 1.10 version. This is a very old version. Okay, finish the installation. So now I have to open the GDE, right? To open the GDE, so you have to go to Start menu, click on the Ab-Initio. But if you see the 3.2 version, you can see two GDEs, Ab-Initio Western European, okay, Unicode. Two things you can see, I think, in Start menu. Okay, so better to open the Western European. You can also open other GDE also. Okay, you can open the Unicode also. You can open the Western European also, because there is a difference in the character set. right? We have some kind of UTF-8 characteristic, ASCII, FCD and all, right? So Western European supports all characteristics. That's what I had from corporation. So that's why I recommended to open the Ab-Initio Western European in your application. Okay. So yeah, this is the GD environment, right? So now in our local machines, we have to configure the GDE to connect with the co-op, which is installed on the remote server or any Linux server, right? For the setup, generally you will get on document because setup requires the host name and the user ID and the password, okay, and the working directory and all, right, and application of path as well, because so in the latest version they have given some application of software also, because till 3.0 there was no concept of application hub. 3.1 onward they have given one additional software that is called application hub, so which is embedded within the co-operating system. So we need not install the application hub separately. So application is hub is the program. This application hub can connect to the multiple Ab-Initio software like GDE, co-operating system, Ab-Initio scheduling tool, EMA. All the softwares can be connected through application hub internally. So that's why they have given one unique software that is called application hub. So there is a configuration file in application hub. So if you log into your Linux server, okay, so where you install your Ab-Initio co-operating system. For instance, let me open some document. I mean some more document. I'll type there. Okay, so if you switch to your Linux server, so for instance, just assume you install your Ab-Initio on /var file system. Okay, so your target can be anything, right? So you might have installed Ab-Initio software on your Ab-Initio co-op on your /var file system in the Linux. If you go to /var/Ab-Initio/Ab-Initio, you can see the application of path, like you can see application underscore hub. This you can see. Okay, so here if you file the command like ls fnltr, you can see one file. The file name is called op hub rc. Okay, so this file is very important file. So this application rc file is a kind of configuration file. You can see rc at the end of file, right? That means remote configuration. Okay, so this is the configuration file. If you open this file, okay, so you can see some configuration here. So automatically when you install Ab-Initio and when you set up the work directory and all, it contains some kind of I mean some kind of variables like ab underscore home. We can see in this one ab underscore home, you can see ab underscore air underscore root, you can see. Okay, and one more thing is yeah, if you install Ab-Initio scheduling tool, there is one Ab-Initio scheduling tool. The tool name is called Ab-Initio Ops Console. Okay, operational console. So this also you can see in Ab-Initio Ops. So this is the uh, this variable points to um, the path where Ab-Initio was installed. Ab-Initio Coop was installed. Okay, Ab-Initio Coop was installed. Right. So you can see that in our directory in our Linux server, and coming to ABA root. So this points to EME path, EME installation path. Okay, air in the sense Ab-Initio repository. AI means Ab-Initio, R means repository. Ab-Initio repository root points to EME installation path. Okay, and similarly ops console points to your scheduling tool installation path. Right. So this is about these paths will be stored in the op-hub-rc. That's why this is a kind of common software. This points to all Ab-Initio products. Okay, this was introduced from 3.1 version onwards. So if you can install your Linux, you can see this application of rc, right? So they are given that. So now in the document of the GDE configuration, they will give the path of the op-hub-rc, and they will give the path of the your host or directory under. So sometimes they will provide some document, or sometimes they will guide you how to set up. In the same way, I am going to show the setup here, but there will be some difference between the trial version setup and the latest version setup. Okay, so the thing is you have to go to run menu here. In this version you have to go to run menu, and you have to click on the settings. But coming to latest version, you can see the settings options separately here. I mean, you can see some settings menu here. Okay, you can see some additional menu in 3.0 or 3.2. I mean, the latest version GD, you can see some additional menu. The menu is the settings menu. So click on the settings, like how I am clicking here. Click on the settings. Okay, so you can see some kind of run settings menu, run settings window. The window is completely different in latest version. Okay, it will show you some kind of another prompt. Okay, so click on same way, click on edit there also. Click on edit. Okay, you can see this kind of window. Profile path we can see, description we can see, connection method and the host name, login, password. Okay, these things you can see. So I think version will be taken automatically in the latest version. You don't see any version menu. The location you will see the location also. Okay, and you will see some kind of application hub RC also you will see, because application hub RC is the new one, right? So in the latest version you can see off of RC path as well. Okay, so like coming to the settings now in the trial version. So coming to the profile path first. So before, you can ignore this path, but before moving to the next connection method, and I will talk about this path, why this path is required and all. Okay, so if you take your mobile profile, generally you have different profiles in your mobile. If you want to change any kind of settings in your mobile, instead of setting the ringtone, everything, each and every time you can just save the settings in one profile. You can point to the required profile whenever you need. Similarly here also, so you can create the multiple profiles, because see, in one profile I may point to my development environment. In another profile path, I may point to my testing environment. Similarly for UAT environment or production also sometimes, right? So based on the environment, I want to create the multiple profiles. Each profile contains own settings. Each profile contains a different username, different password. It may contain a different server name also. Okay, because in some of the applications, they will use some multiple co-operating system servers, not only once because if the project is a very complex project, it is taking too long, to improve the performance. They will set up the multiple nodes, like our Hadoop environment. They will set up the multiple nodes. So on each node you can install the Ab-Initio co-op, right? In that case, you can pass the multiple co-op path also for settings. So that is very rare case actually. Generally, we will use only one co-op. Okay, so in that case, if you want to point to different servers, or if you want to point to different connection methods, you can set the different profiles here. So each profile will be stored with the AIH extension in the trial version, but if we take the latest version, you can see the extension like AIC here. AIC. Okay, so AIC or AH means in Ab-Initio host profile. A means Ab-Initio, H means host. Okay, Ab-Initio host profile. Right. Generally, we don't edit this one, but if you want, you can edit this one. Click on the save as option. You can use some another name here. Similarly, in your version also, you can just rename this one if you want. But generally, we don't rename. But if you want, you can rename with some understandable naming convention, like dev.ah, server name.ah, or the environment.ah. So you can give any name if you want. Coming to description, for your understanding, you can give some description here. So I can give like this is the dev profile. Okay, you can give like dev profile. Any description you can give. Okay, coming to method here. So to connect to the Ab-Initio cooperating system from your GDE, you have the multiple options here. Okay, so in your project is using the secure shell connection method. You can use the SSH, because that depends on your server. So which kind of connection method can be supported by your server, and which kind of connection method your project is preferring. You can use the remote education method, telnet method. Okay, you can use the secure shell method. So 90% of the projects will prefer secure shell method only. Okay, this REXE remote connection or telnet connection, generally we don't prefer, but in case your project is referring this connection, you have to set the connection method like this. Okay, the difference comes in data transfer. Okay, coming to this two, this is different, right? Because this is the specific method for Ab-Initio only. So Ab-Initio server remote education method in the sense. So Ab-Initio cooperating system and the remote education protocol will be installed on the same server. Okay. Similarly, whenever you have to go for this connection method, telnet connection method is Ab-Initio server and the telnet protocol both will be installed on the same server. There is no concept of remote. Then you have to go for these two. But generally, we don't use this kind of, because if you go for this thing, that may affect the cost again. That's why the clients won't prefer these two. Okay. So coming to secure shell, this is the only one we will use generally. Secure shell. Okay. So whenever you select the secure shell, you have to pass the server name here. So server name is the host name, or server name is the like your Linux server name where you install the Ab-Initio operating system. Okay, so that host name you have to pass here, right? And coming to login, so your Linux credentials you have to provide here. Okay, so for to connect to the Linux server, you will get some kind of credentials, right? Your user ID password, the same user ID password you have to provide here. And coming to the host directory, so this is also important thing. So host directory in the sense, so whenever the process is running, so it need some directory, so where some temporary files will get created because of you, because you are running the process from your GDE, right? So you have to provide a directory path here. Okay, to the directory you should have the permissions, right? You should have the privileges. Okay, I cannot pass some other home directory here. I cannot pass some other file system here, because Unix has the some kind of permissions or privileges for each and every directory, right? That's why so you have to pass the directory path here, to which you should have the read and write access. Okay, so generally, so instead of providing multiple paths here, what we will do is we will prefer to pass our home directory only. Okay, so if you take your home directory, will be like in this format, right? Slash home slash your ID. Okay, your Unix ID. It can be some uh, okay, it will start some L something or N something. It can be anything based on your username. They will give some ID, right? So you have to pass the home directory path here, because your home directory will have the access to you, right? You can perform any kind of operation on the home directory. That's why prefer to pass the home directory here. So at runtime, so some of the temporary files will get created in this home directory, and will get deleted at once the process is success. If you want, you can also pass the working directory also. That is your choice. But generally, we will pass the home directory. Okay, if you want, you can pass the work directory as well, like this. So in your server, your work directory can be different, like Ab-Initio slash data slash Ab-Initio work directory. Okay, you have to pass that kind of directory here. Ab-Initio work directory. Okay, and one more thing is yeah, so coming to version, so version you can forget, because the version you don't see in the latest version. So this is the type of the version actually. So you can select the specific version here, which version you want to configure. Okay, you can select the older version, you can select the auto version. Auto in the sense it will support all kind of graphs which were developed in different versions. Okay, coming to location, so this is important. The location of the file system where you install the Ab-Initio operating system. Okay, so till 3.0 you have to pass the path of the Ab-Initio operating system for this location till 3.0. So I install my Ab-Initio coop in C directory. So generally you install your Ab-Initio in slash where. Okay, it can be anything, slash where slash Ab-Initio. You have to pass this kind of path in the location, right? But from coming to 3.1 onwards, right, 3.1 version onwards, so you have to pass the path of the file system where you install the Ab-Initio application hub. App hub, we will call this app hub. You have to pass the app hub path here. Okay, so your app hub can be like this one, Ab-Initio app underscore hub. Okay, you can see the name. So if you switch to some slash where, you can see the exact name. You have to pass the path here. Okay, so now I am passing only this one, Ab-Initio installation path here. Okay, coming to shell type here, so automatically in your server it will take Korn shell only. So by default it will take Korn shell only in Linux server. Okay, but here this is the trial version and I install this on Windows system. Okay, so my Windows system can understand only bash script, not Korn shell, because the backend code for my Windows instructions is the some kind of batch programming, not BAT programming, right? That's why I had to select the type as batch here, but you have to select the corn shell. But anyhow, by default you can see corn shell only, you don't need to worry about this option. Okay, here since this is my trial version, I am installing, I am selecting the batch script here. Okay, uh, now coming back to this connection method here, so I don't have any secure shell connection here, right? That's why I'm selecting the local NT host. So what is this local NT host is? So if I install my co-operating system and GD on, both on same machine, on my local machine, so I don't need any credentials, right? I am not required to pass any credentials in that case. That's why I'm selecting the local NT host, because I install both on my local machine. Okay, so whenever you pass all the parameters, you have to click on the test login. You can see same options in 3.1 or 3.2 version also, but the window will be different. The look and feel is different, but the options are same. Okay, so actually I came very late from office. I came at 4 a.m. IST. That's why I didn't have much sleep. Okay, fine. Here right, I just click on the settings, run settings menu here. So if you see this kind of message, okay, run settings verified, you are fine, because you are able to connect to the co-operating system. If there is any issues, you will see some kind of error message here. But in your version, when you click on the test login, because you can see one tab in your version, there you can see, since you have the application hub option also, you can see like test the connection option, test application hub option, both options you can see. When you click on the test login, you can see test connection, test application hub connection. So if you click on the test connection, it will test the connection. It will show you some prompt like testing connections are verified. Okay, so click on done. So now I am done with my configuration also. So now I am able to connect to my co-operating system. Okay, so till 2.14 version, you have to separately specify the connection method for repository also. So now I just give the connection method for my co-operating system only. Similarly, so EME is also there, right? For EME also I have to set the configurations, right? Till 2.14 I have to go to this repository menu. I have to click on the settings menu, okay, where I have to configure the repository also. How I configure my co-operating system, here also I have to pass the repository host name and repository login password, everything. But coming to 3.0 onwards, so automatically your co will point to your EME, because you have the application hub RC file, right? Because this application hub, so your EME and your Ab-Initio scheduling tool and Ab-Initio cooperating system, everything will be on one page only. That's why you need not worry about the repository settings. Automatically, when you configure the settings for your Ab-Initio cooperating system, it will point to your repository by default. Okay, these are the settings menu. So now coming to development here, right? So this is the GD, right? You have any questions in settings, Rakesh and Srini?
No, I think once we go with the
Yes.
installation, then probably I'll ask you again.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Srini, yeah, and Srini, you did that, right? The settings and all.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. So now, yeah, please correct me if I am wrong anywhere, because I did the settings long back. That's why I might have forgot any of the options. Okay.
Okay.
So now, yes, and one more thing here is, the cooperating system also I got chance to install in my server, because we don't have any Ab-Initio admin project. Ours is very small project, we don't have team members also. So I am the only one guy, and I am getting support from a fresher also. That's fresher. So that's why I had to do everything, EMU setup, everything. So that's why I got chance to learn. Okay. So now, coming to development here, so in the GDE, okay, so this space we will call as a canvas. Okay, this is called as canvas. So canvas is the area, or canvas is space here. Okay, so where you have to drag and drop the components from the component organizer to develop the application or to design a graph here. Okay, so coming to component organizer, by default you don't see this component organizer. In the latest version, you will see this kind of screen. Okay, you have to open the component organizer to get the components, right? So the thing you can do is, you can go to view menu, you can click on the component organizer, okay, or you can also press the shortcut key as F9. F9 is the key Okay, it will just show the component organizer, it will just hide the component organizer. Okay, this is one option. You can open the component organizer, and to insert the components here, okay, to insert the components, you can click on any components whatever you want. So first I want to discuss about dataset components. Okay, so I am going to dataset component folder here. So you can just expand the dataset components, click on the input file or any other component unit, double click on the component, it will be displayed on the canvas. This is one way, and another way is, so if you don't want to open the component organizer, if you want to insert the component without opening the organizer, you can go to insert menu, you can click on the components, input file component you can. Okay, and in 3.1 version or 3.2 version, you can see one more option here, insert component. You can see if you click on insert component, it will point to all the components available. So that is another option. You can either select the components from here or from here also. Okay, this is about input file. And now before talking about the file, so how to read the file and all. Okay, before talking about how to read the file and all, we can discuss about the file system, like the source we will discuss now. So first, as part of our training session, so for few days we will discuss about file system only, how to work on the flat files, and then we will move to the databases and XML files and Excel files, okay, and COBOL files and all, right? So for now we will discuss about the flat files. Okay, so now coming to flat files, what is the flat file? Okay, the definition of the flat file is a flat file is the file which contains some records in unstructured format. Unstructured in the sense, so my flat file can be something like, so let me open some flat file I have. Okay, so if you open this kind of okay, let me type the flat file otherwise. Okay, so let us suppose I have some banking data, so I am getting some customer information. Okay, I am getting the file, like my file contains some values like 100, okay, and name, 100 name, okay, 10,000, right? Similarly I have one more record, 101, like the name is right, so 45,000. Okay, and one more ID, one second, close it, door close it. Okay, so one more name and some deposit. Okay, so if you see this kind of data here, right, so you cannot understand anything. So what is this 100, what is the name, what is this 10,000 and all, because this is called a flat file which contains some kind of unstructured data. There is no proper structure here, so you cannot identify the field names and all here, right? This we will call a flat file. So what you can do here is you have to define the structure for this one. Structure in the sense, record format you have to pass to perform the some kind of DML operations or some kind of manipulations on this data. You have to define the structure for this. Okay, so now for now, first I want to talk about this kind of flat files. Later I will move to the another kind of flat files. Okay, so let me save this flat file first to read from Ab-Initio. Remember, whenever you create any kind of text file in Ab-Initio, okay, so you have to press the enter at the end of the last line. Okay, I will show you how to I will tell you how, I mean why I have to press the enter under, I will tell you. Okay, so let me save this one. Okay, so I am saving in some C drive, Ab-Initio work DAT. Okay, okay, so the file name is called some fixed size DML. I am giving fixed size data, fixed size.dat. Fixed size data.
You have one space there, fixed size.
Yeah, I have given underscore.
There is a space between D and underscore, right?
Oh, space is there. Okay, thank you. Fine. Um, right? So this is the file, right? So now I want to read this file from Ab-Initio. How can I read here is, okay, if you want to do any kind of operation in Ab-Initio with the help of the components, you have to provide some kind of instruction for the component. Okay, insertion in the sense what you want to do with the component, whether you want to read the data, write the data, perform any kind of transformation. Okay, you have to provide some kind of instruction for each component. Instruction can be passed with the help of the parameters only, right? Okay, if you want to see the parameters here, right, you can right click on the properties, right click on the component here, select on the properties, or the shortcut is you can also double click on the component. It will show you some kind of properties window. There you can see all description, access tab and all. Okay, so here you have to pass the instruction. So now coming to label first. Okay, so label is the name of the component. So generally the label contains the component name given by the Ab-Initio corporation. If you want to rename, you can rename it, but generally, so whenever you see the graph, you can see many number of input files, right? So whenever you see the multiple input files, you will get confused which file is reading which data, and where it is getting the data. That's why, better to for understandability purpose, you have to provide some kind of naming convention for the components. Okay, so now I am reading the customer data, so I am following some kind of naming convention here. So I am giving like in essence input file. Okay, in I am opening the curly braces, so I am following this kind of naming convention because I got instruction for this naming convention from my customer. That's why I am following this kind of naming convention. So naming convention can be different from project to project, client to client. Okay, so this is the customer
So,
deposits.
but is it what you've used in most of your projects?
Yeah, generally no one will bother about this convention. So many of the guys won't touch the label and all, but it is recommended.
Okay.
So you can use any naming convention. So, but in case if you have any specific naming convention documentation, or you got any instruction from your Ab-Initio architect, because Ab-Initio architect will suggest some kind of naming conventions, right? You can follow that. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a label. So the most of the projects we saw this kind of naming convention. Okay, so now coming to the name here. So this is the input file, right? So this input file can be used to read the input data from any flat file. Okay, this file can be used to read the input data. Okay, so now if you want, you can change this to output file also to write the data, and you can change this to some kind of intermediate file also. So this is for testing purpose, we will use this intermediate file. Okay, and you can change the lookup also. We will discuss about lookup and other three components tomorrow. Okay, so I am pointing to input only now. Okay, so now coming to URL. So URL is the location, so where you want to point to the file system where you have the file. Okay, so URL is the location of the file from where I want to read the data. So you can browse the file here, right? You can browse the file. You can go to the file system location with the help of this browse option. Okay, you can select the file. Okay, so let me select my file now. Ab-Initio work, I have the file dat, I have the fixed size here. Okay, so this is what we can use. So or you can also type the path also. And one more thing, so coming to our projects, so generally in my trial version, since I am using the Windows software, Windows OS for the installation of the co-op, and that I have the files in Windows only. But coming to your mission, sorry, coming to your projects, real-time applications, your files will be stored on your ETL server. Okay, ETL server in the sense the server where you install the Ab-Initio co-operating system. On the server, in some file system location, okay, your files will get arrived on daily basis. Okay, so now you have to pass that path, right? So coming to this path again, so I want to talk about one more variable here. Okay, that is called, in the path. Okay, so generally the path can be like Ab-Initio data serial. Okay, so your project name, right? So this can be the file system where you will see the file. Generally this is the convention. Actually all files will be stored in the all serial files, because we have some kind of two kinds of file. We have the serial files, we have the multi files. So coming to parallelism, in the parallelism we have the multi-file concept. So there we will discuss about the multi-file file system and all. Okay, but coming to serial here. So in the serial file system you will store all your source files generally. So this is the file system where you will get the your source file arrived on daily basis. Okay, or sometimes in some of the applications they will give some other path also, like the path can be like um, some inbox. Okay, and the files, it can be anything. So you have to, in case if your path is this one, you have to point to this path, or generally 19% of the projects will use this path only, because this is the recommended path for Ab-Initio, because all serial files will be stored in this path. Okay, now just assume I have this path. Okay, if I want to point to the files from this path, I have to give the complete path here. Okay, if I give the complete path here, right, the thing is there are two issues. The first issue is, each and every time I have to give the complete path, right? The path is same forever. I mean, in my development environment, the path is same for all the files, but each and every time I am giving the complete path or obsolete path I am passing. So instead of passing this kind of complete path, if you can parameterize this path, okay, you can just refer the parameter name instead of giving the path again and again. Okay, so that is the one thing you have to remember. And one more thing is, so whenever my code is migrated to higher environments, testing or production environment, the path can be different sometimes, right? Because in production or in testing environment, the file system path can be different. In development, the file system path can be different. In that case, you have to uh, provide the parameter here, because if you give the some kind of hard coded value here, it will accept the files in it will expect the files in same path in the higher environments also. It will, the graph will fail the path, saying that the path is not existent. Okay, that's why it is recommended to pass the parameter here. Now coming to parameter. Okay, what is the parameter you have to pass here? Okay, so entire your file system or your serial file system will be pointed out by some kind of Ab-Initio built-in parameter. The parameter name is called AI underscore serial. AI means Ab-Initio, serial means serial file system. Okay, all your serial files will be stored in the AI serial file system. Okay, all your files will get stored in the AI serial directory or AI serial file system. Okay, so now, so you can get a question here. The question is how this variable, how this parameter knows my file system path here. So while you are installing the co-operating system, your Ab-Initio admin will configure some kind of parameter files. Okay, in that environment setup file, he will give some path for A serial. So there are many parameters, not only A serial. Okay, so A serial parameter is there, A MFS is there. Okay, A serial temp is there. We have many parameters. We will discuss about all parameters. Okay, on our sessions, and every day we will discuss about many parameters. Now remember about this parameter. So this setup, you need not worry about this setup. Automatically this parameter will be set up by the admin. So you have to just use the parameter. That's it. You will get the resolved value. Okay, so now this A serial is a parameter. Okay, this points to my file system path where I have all my files, right? So now this A serial you have to mention in the input file component. Okay, so this is the parameter, right? You have to mention the A serial here slash the file name you have to give. Okay, the file
No,
name you
no
have to
need
give.
dollar.
Yeah, I will come to that point. Okay, so I am giving some customers for deposit.dat here. So now this is the parameter, right? If you see the path here, so no one, my Ab-Initio code cannot understand. So this is the directory, because it will expect this as the hardcode value only. A serial as a like hardcode value only here. That's why to mention that this is a parameter, and if you want to get the result value for this parameter, you have to pass the dollar before the parameter name. This is common for all the parameters. For every parameter in Ab-Initio should be prefixed by dollar, because this dollar helps you to get the resolved value. Okay, we have dollar, we have some kind of dollar curly braces also. This is also one convention is there. Dollar curly is also there, right? We'll discuss about this later. We have some kind of reusability concept in Ab-Initio. So there I will come to the parameterization concept, how to parameterize a graph, how to make the same graph for reusability purpose. Okay, so then I will discuss about this dollar curly braces and all. Okay, for now so you have to use the dollar A serial or dollar any parameter name. Okay, because why they are following this convention is so Ab-Initio almost follow Unix syntax in the Unix also. If you open any kind of Unix scripting in the Unix also, to refer any parameter value, you have to use the dollar. Okay, in the same you have to use the dollar here also. Okay, so for now I don't have any setup here, right? That's why I am just using the my local file. Okay, but for since you have the CBT and all, you can just use the A serial only for your practice. Okay, in the trial version only you have to use the hardcore value like this. Okay, I have given the path here now. So coming to partitions here, so partition we will discuss later, because partitions can be the multiple files. So if I have the same file, I mean I have for example I am getting this file from one branch. Okay, similarly I have some 10 branches. 10 branches I am getting the files on daily basis from 10 branches with the same structure, with the same layout. Then I have to give the partition option. We will discuss about these partitions later. We will call this as ad hoc multi-file concept or multiple file concept. This multiple file or ad hoc multi-file concept we will discuss later. Okay, not an issue. Now coming to owner here. So owner is the my host name. Okay, I don't need this owner and all. Comment here. So this comment generally contains the purpose of the component by default. If you want, you can change the comment. You can give the comment like this. This file is getting the feed from the some North America branch and all. You can give some kind of description if you want here. Okay, so now coming to access here. So coming to access, so you have some kind of exclusive access option here. So like whenever you are reading the file, okay, so if you don't want to allow other developers to read the same file, you can set the maintain exclusive access option. Okay, similarly coming to truncate here. So whenever the file is processed or whenever the file is read by the component, I want to delete the record by record in the file. So whenever the first record is processed, I want to truncate the first record. When the second record is processed, I want to remove the second record from the file to save the memory. In that case, you can select the truncate option. But generally this access we don't use. Okay, so because the thing is the file should be existed over the memory in the hard disk. That's why it is not recommended to use this option. We don't touch the access tab, but just for training purpose I am talking about this access also. Okay, coming to delete here. So whenever the process is successfully run, whenever the job is over, I want to delete the file from the memory. Then I can select the delete option. Okay, coming
And
to
if I want to move this file from this location to another location once the job is done?
yeah, then we have to write the script for that. Okay,
Okay.
so for data movement, we have the move command, right? In Linux operating system, you have to use the move command at the end of the graph.
Oh, at the end of the graph.
Yeah,
Okay.
at the end of that is the common thing generally, right? In our applications, we will move the all source file to some archive location generally, right? So that we can do with the help of the some general script. Okay, we can also call the script from the Ab-Initio. It's a kind of simple command only. We will call the command from Ab-Initio itself.
Okay.
Okay. So now, because why they didn't give the option here is the problem is if they give more options which are available in the Unix, your graph performance may be degraded. That's why they didn't give much options like related to Unix options. Okay. So
But you
now,
were saying that that option is there in the graph itself, right?
yeah,
So
option is
from in
yeah, we can
Ab-Initio
pause the
itself.
script. Option in the sense, the script we have written in the Linux operating system to move the files, the script you can call from Ab-Initio itself, graph itself. We have couple of options for that to call the script. Okay, or you can also write the script in Ab-Initio also. Script is common. Either you write in Linux or either you write in Ab-Initio GD also. Script is the common. Command is the common command. Okay, but the command you can write in a script. You can call the script or you can directly write the command in the Ab-Initio also. So there is a component actually. The component is let me show you that in the miscellaneous category you can see run program component. So this component can execute any kind of program. Okay, so if you install your cope on Linux operating system, it will execute the all Linux commands and Unix commands. You can pause the command here like mv command, cp command, any command you can pause here. This is only one
Okay.
option, but we have couple of options. Generally, we don't use this component, so we'll use different option. We have some concept called plans actually. The connected product is there, right? In 3.0 onwards, we have the concept called conduct it. in Ab-Initio. Okay, so conduct it has the features, many features. So conduct it can execute multiple graphs as a batch. There I can call the script. We have some kind of methods there. At start method, at success method, at failure method, okay, at rollback method, right, at warning method, at trigger method and all. Okay, in the at success method. So whenever the plan is success or my graph is success, so I can call the script, okay, to move the files from my source to target. Or I also write the script in the same task. Instead of calling the script, you can write the script also in the connect it. Okay.
Okay.
So now we'll talk about that later. So that is advanced concept actually. At the end of components, we will move to the connect it. So now coming to access here. So we discussed about delete option, right? So now one more thing here is coming to don't roll back file job files. This you can see enabled in the intermediate file component. We'll talk about this later. Rollback and all. Okay, coming to protection, this protection you can see it will enable in Linux only because the file contains some permissions, right? Read permission, write permission, execute permission for the user, group and others in the Linux operating system. You can set the permissions here. So generally, if you want to set the permission, you have to go for the Linux and you have to use the command like chmod, change and modifies command you have to use, right? So instead of using the command, you can set the permission here itself. For while writing the file in the output file component, you can set the permission. So this access we don't use generally, but better to remember these options. Okay, so coming to ports option here. So before talking about the ports, so I have paused the file path here, right? I want to see the contents of the file now. So I have the contents here, right? So from Ab-Initio GDE, I want to see these contents. If you want to see the contents here, you have to right click on the component. Okay, right click on the component, click on the view data option here. Okay, so whenever you click on the view data, you can see some error message here. The message is this is a kind of alert here. The alert is no record format specified for this component. Okay, if you want to view the data, if you take any language like SQL language for an instance, in Oracle, if you want to view the data in a table, you have to write the query like select field names from the table name. Okay, so if you want to select the field names, you have to provide some kind of metadata for the table. The metadata is nothing but the your table definition, right? Create table statement, create some kind of field names. With the alpha of the field names only you are able to access the data from the table. Similarly here also you have to specify some kind of fields for your file. Okay, for your file you have to specify some kind of field names or metadata. Okay, with the alpha of this field name only you can read the data and you can manipulate the data. Okay, for manipulation also, if you want to do the manipulation, you need the field names, right? If you want to do some kind of increment on the deposit field, the logic can be like a deposit equal deposit plus 100. If you want to do this kind of logic, you need the field name like deposit. So now you have to specify the record format. Okay, so we will call this field names we will call this field names as the record format here. Okay, now if you want to pass the record format for the any dataset component, you have to go to the ports option here. So what is the port then? So before talking about the port stuff here, what is the port? Okay, just assume I am able to read the file here. I want to process this file. I want to just increment the deposit amount. If you want to increment the deposit amount, you have to go to some kind of reformat component here. We will talk about this reformat component tomorrow. Okay, so just for understanding, I want to show you some reformat component here. So this reformat component can do any kind of reformat operation. So here I want to apply some kind of business rule on my input data by incrementing the deposit field. Okay, then you have to connect the component from this component to from this input file to your reformat, because with the help of the connection only your data can be transmitted or transferred to next downstream flow, right? Then you have to use the ports for the connection purpose. Click on the ports here. Okay, hold the mouse pointer, connect to the port whatever you want. So this is called some kind of arrow. Okay, this arrow can transfer the data from one component to another component, but the arrow can be connected with the ports only. Okay, so now I can say like port is the connection point for each component. Okay, port is the connection point for each component. You can see multiple ports for many components. We will discuss why we have the multiple ports. Okay, coming to this input file, I have only one port because my input file can do only one functionality. It can do only reading. I mean, it can only read the, it cannot do any other functionality. That's why I have only one port here. Okay, so this port will read the data, right? So now coming to port back, in Ab-Initio, for each port you have to specify the record format for each port. Okay, so for the input file component I have to specify some kind of record format here. Okay, for reformat port I have to specify record format for the input port, output port, reject port, error port, log port. Every port I have to pass the record format because I want to read the data, I want to process the data. If you want to process the data, okay, with the help of the components using the ports, you have to specify the record format for each port. This record format I will call as the DML in Ab-Initio. We can also call as layout here, but generally we will call as the DML. Okay, so now coming to DML. So DML is the first object of Ab-Initio. We have the multiple objects in Ab-Initio. Okay, so Ab-Initio objects, right? We have the multiple objects in Ab-Initio. Sorry, right? The first one is the DML. Okay, so DML file is the record format of the dataset. Dataset in the sense collection of records in a file. Okay, so the DML file is the record format of the dataset. Okay, so this will be called as, right? This will be called as record format of the file, right? Record format or metadata of the file, right? Metadata of the file. So now we will save this extension of this DML is record format is, okay, extension is .dml. So now .dml is the file, okay, .dml is the file. So this contains the metadata for a dataset. Okay, so coming to second one, I think DAT we already discussed, right? .dat. .dat is the extension for the dataset. This can be anything. Okay, we generally we don't call this as the object of Ab-Initio. Okay, so it is the extension of the file, dataset file. Okay, you can use any extension. You can use .txt. You can use any extension. Okay, extension of the file. Generally we will use the .dat as a naming convention of Ab-Initio. Okay, so now coming to record format here. So how to create the record format or how to create the metadata. Okay, to create the record format you have to go to ports option here, right? In the ports you can see the port name. I have only one port here. If you have the multiple ports you can see the input ports, output ports also for other components. Coming to input file I have only one port here. The port name is called read port. Okay, this port can be used to read the data. So now for this port only I have to provide the record format. If we see some kind of yellow colors here, right? So this yellow colors indicates us, okay, this yellow colors indicate us something is missing here, right? If there is any mandatory things or if there is any mandatory parameters expecting some kind of values, okay, and if you don't pass any value for the mandatory parameter, okay, it will show you some kind of yellow color here. Okay, so this yellow color is called as, okay, so yellow color indicators are called as to do queues. Okay, so this is the name for the yellow color indicators, right? So we will call this yellow color symbols as to do queues. So to do queues are the yellow color indicators which will allow us to which will allow us to identify something is missing for the required parameter. Okay, so all the compilation errors can be indicated by these yellow color indicators. Okay, so if you want you can change the yellow color also in the preferences of the GDE, but generally we will follow the same convention for all the applications, right? Better to not change these yellow color indicators. Okay, so now coming to record format here. So since I am not passing record format here, it is showing the yellow color indicator. Okay, so to pass the record format, we have the multiple option. You can create the record format now itself. You can refer to the existing record format with the help of the path. You can point to another record format of the another component also. You have the multiple options. Okay, first we will talk about this embedded. Okay, embedded is the one where you have to design the new record format. You have to define the new record format. Okay, to define the new record format, you have to click on the new button here, right? Click on the new button. Okay, so now here you have to define the record format. Okay, so before talking about the record format, so in any language or any tool we have some kind of data types, right? So we have some kind of data types in any language. Similarly in Ab-Initio also we have the data types. Okay, so we'll discuss about frequent digit data types now. The first one is decimal, right? So this decimal covers, so I am just comparing with the SQL. All the data types, this decimal covers integer values, okay, integer values and float values, right? And numbers in the sense your oracle number data type. You can cover everything decimal. Okay, next one is string. String is the universal thing, right? You can pass characters, numbers, combination of characters, special characters, anything you can pass for this string. So this is equal to your varchar in your oracle. Okay, so third one is the date. Okay, you have to pass the format, date format you have to pass, right? And we have other data types also. We have the some kind of integer. Into we have data type as long. Okay, we have the record format type. We have many types. We'll discuss about all the types on our regular basis because these are frequent digit types actually for operation purpose. So there are some special purpose in Ab-Initio, like for declaring a variable to get the some kind of long values, to create some kind of layout. We have different kind of data types also. We'll discuss about types later. Okay, as of now these three are very basic types. Okay, now you have to use this, you have to use these kind of data types to declare the metadata. Okay, coming back to editor here. So now whenever you click on the new button, we can see one kind of editor here, that is called text editor. Okay, so this editor will let you define the record format here. Okay, so now coming to editors here, right? So we have multiple editors in Ab-Initio. Okay, the first one is the text editor, right? It's a kind of notepad. Okay, it's a kind of notepad where you can define any kind of code, any kind of code. Okay, it's not only for record format, you can use this text editor for other things also, any kind of okay, code or text you can define the text editor. Okay, so now if you see this kind of text editor for the record format thing, okay, you can see some record keyword, end keyword. Okay, record is the keyword, so which is the beginning of the record format. For each record format, you know, like if you take any language, I will finish in 5 minutes. Okay, so now the time is running up, right? Okay, now if you take any language, if you take any C language for an instance, you know, you will use some kind of curly braces for a black of statement. Similarly here also I am defining my record format, so my record format should be enclosed between the record and end keywords. Okay, so this is the comment line, is the comment line actually. So now between these two record and end keywords, you have to define the record format. So the first one is the syntax for creating record format here is, right, you have to use some kind of data types first. Okay, so now coming to my data here, the first one is the for the first three characters I want to define the field name as the customer ID, CID or CID for first three characters. Okay, so the values in my CID is the numbers, right? Decimal values I have here. That's why you have to define the logic, or you have to define the data type here. 1 minute. Yeah, you have to define the data type here. So type the data type first, decimal. Okay, open the square bracket, the size of the size of your value. Okay, decimal of 3. Okay, my customer ID size maximum 3 characters I have, decimal of 3, space. Okay, the name of the field you want to give, CID I am giving, give the semicolon. Okay, so this is what you have to define the uh, record format for each field. This is for one field only. Coming to second field also, second field I have the name. I want to define the name for the second field. I have the characters like take the first record. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 characters I have for Murthy. Okay, so now I am giving the data type as string because this is the name. I mean I have the characters in the name field. Okay, string of 6 I am giving. Okay, space name I am giving, give the semicolon. Okay, if you want to define the record format like this, sometimes you may not be aware of data types, right? For you to Ab-Initio, you don't know data type names, decimal, string, under. Okay, that's why the if you don't know the data types, okay, you need not worry here, and you need not open the text editor. So what you can do here is you can okay, I'm deleting this one. Okay, you can switch to grid mode. Click on the view here. Actually by default grid mode will be open in your version, by default grid mode will be open sometimes. Okay, or you can switch to grid mode here, right? Click on the view, click on the view, click on the grid mode here. Okay, so you can switch to some kind of record format editor. This is second editor. We discussed about text editor, right? The second one is record format editor. So in the record format editor, okay, you can pause the record format for a port, okay, by selecting the data types from the existing list, drop down list here. Okay, so now coming to record format editor, here you can see the field name field, you can see the data type, you can see the length also. Okay, it's a kind of entering the values by selecting with the mouse, right? So now coming to field name here, right? So I am giving the field name as CID. Okay, so go to record format here, you can see the list of available format in Ab-Initio, right? You can see all the record formats, all the data types. You can see binary, date, date type, decimal, integer. Okay, you can see all data types, right? So now I need the decimal. Okay, I am selecting decimal here. Okay, so now coming to length here. So how many number of characters you want to read as the customer ID? I want to read the first 3 characters of the customer ID. I am giving 3 here. Over. Coming to second record, second field. My second field name is name. Okay, and the type of the this name is string. Okay, so I am selecting string here. I'm selecting string here. The length of string is 6 I am giving, because my first record contains only 6 characters. Coming to last field. Okay, the last field is the deposit amount. Okay, I want to give the name as deposit amount, right? So this is deposit. Okay, so now coming to data type here. Okay, so I want to this deposit field I want to read as the decimal line, because I have decimal values here. Okay, so now I am selecting decimal here. Okay, so now coming to size here, length here. Okay, so this is the last field, right? Okay, if we specify the length as some 5 characters here, so after reading 5 characters it can encounter some kind of enter character here, right? We will press the enter. Generally the line separator, record separator in Linux is the enter character, right? The new line character. Okay, so the new line character you have to pass here for the last field. Okay, you can pass fixed size also. Again you have to create one more field saying that new line. So sometimes you can see some kind of indicators in your trial version. Okay, sorry, in your CBT version. So the RDML you can see here is, you can see some kind of new line name. So type is the string, you can see size is the one. Okay, they will give some default value for the equal to slash, and they will give. So you can also declare the new line like this, or what you can do is in the deposit itself you can specify the new line delimiter here, or record delimiter here. Okay, the record delimiter. Coming to record delimiter, if you take the Windows operating system, my file was created in Windows with the in Windows operating system, right? So the end of the record can be indicated by slash or slash n in Windows operating system. Okay, if you take the Windows, right, the new line character, right, the new line character indicated by slash or slash n, right? Slash or slash n is the delimiter. Okay, slash or slash n is the delimiter of the record in Windows operating system, because Windows, in the sense, the file was created in Windows operating system. Okay, this is a DOS, MS DOS prompt actually. MS DOS, this is the indicator for the new line character. But coming to Linux, okay, Linux, the new line or the record separator is the slash n only. That's why in your application you can see slash n only, the record delimiter. You don't see the slash or slash n. Okay, so now coming to my trial version, and I am working on Windows operating system here, and that's why I am giving the /r/n. Okay, go to record format here, you have to specify the /r/n. That means till my deposit field encounters the new line character, I want to read all characters as the deposit only till the new line is encountered. Okay, for the last field so you have to give this kind of format. Okay, but the thing you have to, since this is the delimiter, right, you should not leave this as, because you have to enclose this kind of delimiter in the single quote or double quotes. That's our choice, you can use the single quote or you can use the double quotes as well. Okay, for the delimiters, right? So now this is the record format I declared with the help of the record format editor. You can use this one or you can use text mode also. Okay, click on the save button, you can save this one. Okay, or what you can do is you can go to view menu, click on the text mode also, then you can see the corresponding text mode for the record you declared in record format editor. Okay, so this way you can declare the record format. And one more thing here, if you take the 3.1 version, 3.1 has the intelligence feature. Intelligence in the sense, you know, for instance, you are not I mean you don't want to use the record format editor, you want to create the DML with the help of the text pad, I mean this text editor. Okay, then whenever you type the keyword, okay, like I want to create the new field, the string field, whenever you type the string field like st something, it will show some kind of drop down list. Okay, the drop down list will guide you how to select the data types and all. I mean you can select the string, okay, from the drop down list, you need not type the entire code in 3.1 version onwards. Okay, so now, so I have given the record format here. Okay, just remember, if you declare the record format in text mode, you have to use the semicolon at the end of the field name declaration. Okay, but if you see the record format editor, you don't pass any semicolon, it will automatically taken care by your editor, right? So now I have given the record format by declaring the new record format here. That's why, so this was shown in the embedded only. Embed
Why
for,
did you give /r? I missed that
yeah,
part.
yeah, let me show you. /r, if you declare the DML in text mode, you can do the /r in between the parentheses, or if you declare the DML in record format editor, okay, you can give the /r in the length. Because I am not giving any length here, I am giving some delimiter.
Okay, no, R refers what is the purpose?
Yeah, this is called carriage return, or in the sense. So the thing here is, you know, if you type any Word document in Windows operating system, okay, every record will be end up with some kind of new line character, right? When you press the enter button, your control will move to the, or your cursor will move to the beginning of the next line, right? So this kind of beginning of next line will be indicated by /r/n. Okay, if you give /r only, like if you give /r only, /r is nothing but a carriage return, your cursor will move from end of line to the end of next line, not beginning of the line. Okay, but if you give the /r/n here, it will move to the beginning of the line. This is the standard for Windows only. But if you take the Linux operating system, you have to give the /n only. /r is not required in the Linux. So that's why, you know,
Because I didn't see
whenever
in
you
my
copy the files, sorry, Srini,
no, nothing. I didn't see in any of our files this /r. That's why I thought.
/n you will see, right? Because you
Yeah,
are working on Linux, right? Unix
yeah.
operating system. So, and one more thing, the example files given by the Ab-Initio Corporation, right? Everything, the file was created in Linux operating system, not in Windows operating system. That is why they will give only /n. Okay, and one more thing, you know, generally when you copy the file, try to copy one file from Windows to Linux for testing purpose, you know, copy one file from Windows to Linux. Okay, so open the VA mode on the file, you can see /r/n at the end of the line for the DOS files, for the Windows files. Then you have to use some kind of DOS to Unix. Okay, DOS to Unix utility is there in Unix command, right? You can use DOS to Unix to convert the /r/n into /n kind of format. Okay, so okay, that is out of scope for us, so we will discuss that later. So now coming to record format, here I have given the record format by creating a new format here. That's why I can see the embedded option here. I embedded the new record format here. Okay, so now if you view the data here, okay, if you want to use the data, now you can view, right? So now if you click on the right click on the component, go to view data option. Okay, go to view data option. Here you can see the view data window. Okay, so this view data window helps you to select the range of records, because sometimes you may have some thousands of records or millions of records in your project or in your data. You cannot see all the records, right? So that's why you have to give some kind of range here, right? That's why give the range, select the range whatever you want. I am selecting only 10 here. Okay, by default I have 10 here, I am selecting only 10 here. Okay, so now coming to display as grid mode, we have multiple modes here. You can see this modes. Okay, generally we prefer the grid mode because grid mode is a kind of two-dimensional format. Okay, you can also try other modes also, hexadecimal mode, unformatted mode, formatted text, and all. Okay, so grid mode we will see for reading purpose, right? So partitions we will discuss later. We don't have any partitions now. We have all records in only one partition as of now. Okay, click on OK button, you can see the data here. Okay, now we can see the data. So my Ab-Initio was installed on Windows XP virtual machine, that's why it takes some time to view the data. Okay, if you see here, so take the first record. Okay, first record was read as expected, right? Because I have given the length as decimal of 3 for my customer ID, that's why first 3 characters was read as the customer ID. And coming to name also, yeah.
And it's getting very late, so can we continue tomorrow from here?
Yeah, we can continue, no issues. Fine.
Sorry for
Yeah,
sending
you
you.
can drop off, Rakesh. Okay,
Okay.
we'll discuss tomorrow,
And
not an issue. Because I just want to complete this thing only, but anyhow, it's getting very late for you, right? We can continue. No?
no, okay. So if I can continue if it's
Yeah,
for the
it
last
doesn't take
point.
more than 5 minutes actually.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Fine, yeah. So since I have given the record format as decimal of 3 for customer ID field, okay, it is reading the first 3 characters as a customer ID and it is showing the first 3 characters here. Coming to name also, I have defined the length as 6 for my name. That's why it is taking only 6 characters uh, from here onwards, 6 characters. Okay, so coming to deposit. Okay, deposit I have given the delimiter. I have given the delimiter. So till my cursor or my control will find out the end of line, it has to read the each character as the deposit. That's why it is reading all deposit till end of the line. Coming to second record here, so I have given the decimal of the for customer ID. I have only 3 characters here, so it is able to read the 3 characters. Coming to name field here, since I have given the size as 6 here. Okay, if you take the 6 as it is counting the values from S onwards. So I am able to see only 6 here. So coming to excess characters here, I have the 2 excess characters, right? Okay, 2 excess characters for moved to deposit amount. This is not valid, right? So the thing what I want to say here is, if you want to define any kind of fixed size record format or fixed size DML, okay, this is the issue, because you don't know the size of the name or you don't know the size of any field. Size can be anything, you cannot define the size. But if you define the maximum size also, so you have to make sure you should have some kind of additional spaces for the excess characters in the any of the field. Okay, like if you take this example, so you have the maximum value as the Srinivas here. Okay, Srinivas contains some kind of 8 characters. Okay, you have to give the spaces for the excess characters here. Okay, so instead of modifying the data, so what you can do is, instead of giving the this kind of fixed HTML here, okay, because we have done some drawback here. If you use the fixed HTML, you are not able to use the data properly. That's why you don't process the data properly. Okay, this is called invalid record. Your deposit contains some invalid record now. That is why, so fixed size is not recommended. You have to go for the delimiter file. Okay, or delimited files. So delimited files, in the sense, you have to give some kind of indicator as the field separator, right? For each field you have to give some kind of indicator. Okay, so now this is my first field, right? So I want to give indicators comma here. This is called field separator here. Okay, similarly for the second field I want to give the comma delimiter. You can give piping delimiter, you can give semicolon delimiter. Okay, so generally, so most of the products will have the delimiter like comma, or will have the delimiter like piping. Okay, because you have to make sure the delimiter you are giving here should not be part of the actual field, right? Because if you give some kind of comma here, sometimes you are getting some kind of address field for the customer. the customer may enter some address by comma separators. Then you don't read the data properly. That's why most of the case you will see piping also. Okay, but now I am giving comma here. Okay, so for the second field also I am giving comma. So this kind of delimiters we will get from the source only. You need not worry about the delimiter. Okay, this is the role of source stream. Actually, source stream will give some kind of delimiters for your files. Okay, but if you take the database contains some kind of fixed size data only, fixed size DML, then there is no issue because database already has some kind of spaces for additional thing under. So Ab-Initio will automatically convert the this fixed size into delimiter, so in the database point of view. Okay, so now I am giving the delimiter here. So coming to record format also, I have to change the record format, right? Again, I should not pass the size here. You can change the format in grid mode, you can change in text mode also. If you take the grid mode here, okay, you have to give the comma delimiter here, like how you are passing the new line character here. Similarly, you have to pass the comma delimiter by enclosing between the single quote. Open the single quote, give delimiter, close the single quote. Okay, for first day only takes time. So tomorrow onwards, I don't take much time because this is very basic, right? That's why we have to um, discuss more. Okay, so now this is the comma delimiter I am giving. So till the comma encounters, all characters will be read as the customer ID. Okay, so validate this one. This OK button can be helpful to validate the record format. Okay, so save the changes. Okay, so now if you see the input file here, okay, click on view data option. Okay, so you can see the output now, proper records you can see now. Okay, now you can see the valid data, right? So this is how you can declare the record format. So tomorrow we'll discuss about the transformations, how to filter records, how to apply reformat. We'll discuss tomorrow.
Okay, right.
All
So
right,
I
sir.
will send the record session to you. Please go to the record
Yeah,
session. If you
yeah.
have any questions, you can we can discuss later tomorrow.
And the notes that you've taken, you can send in the email
Yeah.
separately, right?
This is scrap, right? You were asking. I will send. Okay.
Yeah, the file that you're writing.
Yes, I will send. No issues. And tomorrow is my Friday, right? Okay. Both of will join, right? So yeah, at 8 o'clock. So you can join it. Okay, so for tomorrow, this is the common session for you both, right? Tomorrow we can have the common session. Day after tomorrow onwards, I will split the session. Okay,
Okay.
only for tomorrow we can, because by next week I will complete my next batch. That's why you can adjust the timings. Okay,
So tomorrow
and
is 8:30 your time, right?
8 o'clock,
8 o'clock, which is
10:30
8
only,
o'clock. Okay, 10:30,
10:30
right? 8 o'clock.
only.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
So tomorrow,
Okay.
CD, you also join tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow what time you want me to join?
Same
10:30
time,
or
10:30 only.
10:30,
okay,
yeah,
fine.
same time.
Yeah, same time. And Srini, you want to do the setup now?
Yeah,
Okay, fine. So Rakesh, you can drop off. No issues. We'll discuss.
Okay, man.
Anyhow, we will also get the setup license and all, right? We will do that on your mission as well. No
Okay,
problem.
okay, Narayana. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Shini. Yeah.
yeah, fine. Yeah, bye.
Yeah. Srini, I am stopping recording session. You want me to continue the recording or you want to stop the recording?
No, no, you can stop.